First on the agenda item is how we're going to structure the call today. So we're going to do our usual updates as well as going through any immediate blockers, as long as they're shared blockers. Once that's done, we're going to experiment with breakout rooms today. So we're going to split the call into 2 breakout rooms, block level access lists and EPBS. I'm choosing the option to self-select, so each person can choose which breakout room they're going to go to. This might be exclusionary for some people who do want to be in both breakout rooms. The rooms themselves won't be recorded. So for now, we're going to have to just experiment with this approach. And in the future, we can still see how to merge it better. The breakout room approach is also temporary, as in we're not fixing these as the 2 breakout rooms, but instead on a week-by-week basis, we can decide what are the most valuable breakout rooms to choose and who's going to lead them. That being said, let's start off with the usual bits. DevNet updates for block level access lists. Do we have Barnabas? Sorry, for blob DevNet 0, do we have Barnabas?
Yeah, blob DevNet 0 has it's in some issues in the past week. I'm not sure if we have anyone from Prism here that could speak up regarding the Prism bugs that are there regarding the partial cell stuff. Other than that, the spec is finally pretty much firm, so everyone should be able to implement everything that they need for partial cell stuff. If you have updated your partial self logic, then please let me know, and I can add you to the validated list on blob.net 0.
Is there a rollout plan for this one? I know that there was some talk about deploying it on testnets.
Yeah, so ideally, we can start deploying it on testnets once the clients feel very optimistic about it. Right now, the alternative would be to launch a very big network, but realistically, we're not going to be able to see the network effect of this change unless we do like another 1,000 node network or something like that. So I think what we were thinking is a few validators will have it enabled on Sepolia and on Hoodie, and then on Hoodie we can investigate further if in case we do see some kind of clustering. And once we are confident, then clients can decide to have it default enabled in their logic.
Okay, sounds good. Next on the list is block level access list DevNet 2, as well as any blockers for benchmarking. Either Stefan or Tony, whoever wants to go.
Yeah, I can start quickly on just a general update. So we finally have reached pretty much 100% participation on DevNet 2. Aragon has implemented and fixed the issue today regarding proposals. So not a few blocks get proposed, but most blocks now get proposed by all the clients. There are still some small improvements that can be made in general. For example, I reported one issue to Besu where sometimes when it falls behind syncing, for some reason it has a little bit of trouble catching up. But otherwise, I think we are at a good place with DevNet 2 at the moment, which is great. But just the next thing would be the benchmarking, and it would be great to get an update on how far clients are that haven't added the benchmarking flags, and if any clients have maybe also iterated on any of the benchmarking code that they have maybe we could get an update from the clients that don't have the flags yet, Nethermind or Aragon or Reth. That would be great. Maybe start with Nethermind.
Yeah, there's good progress on the parallel execution. It seems to be running like pretty stable in the DevNet, like it worked for about 12 hours, but then it broke. So I'm just gonna investigate that a bit more, and then hopefully we can get that merged soon. And I think Alexi's still investigating on the parallel state parallel state loading. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I mean, we can also do that in the breakout call. Would also make sense from what Barnabas said. But I think that's then pretty much it, unless someone else has something regarding DevNet 2 now.
Yeah, I think we'd structure it such that general updates can happen in the main call, but if there's anything specific to dive deep into, then that can happen in the breakout rooms. So yeah, it would still be interesting to get an update from the other ELs as to where they are.
Then can we continue with Reth quickly?
Hey, I just joined late. What are we discussing? Sorry.
Just the flags on the benchmarking. So the flag to toggle the prefetching, the flag to enable all the optimizations, and the flag to disable all the optimization regarding parallel processing and prefetching state and state root calculation.
I think we have all three flags on our DevNet 2 and DevNet 3 branch already.
Okay, could you share all of the configuration? Because so far I think I only have one of them.
Yeah, I'll ping it through in the chat. No worries.
Great. Thank you. And Aragon would be great if you have any update on that.
Right. So yeah, we are working on. We are finishing parallel execution. I'll check about the flags. So I see, is it where are they spec'd on the Bell DevNet 3 page? I see some flags for Besu.
Yeah, both BellDevNet 2 and 3, but 3 is not ready yet, so it's good to have it on 2 right now so that we can continue the progress on the gas repricing.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'll check the implementation status, and if they are not implemented, I'll try to add them soonish.
Okay, super. I think that's it for DevNet 2. Otherwise, we can move to DevNet 3 if there's nothing.
Yeah, let's move to DevNet 3 then. What's the blocker or timeline there? I know that Tony shared an agenda, so maybe besides those discussion points, if there's any blockers.
Yeah, maybe I can give a quick overview. I've been doing some testing regarding DevNet 3, and in a single testnet, most of the clients are doing pretty well with just normal transactions. But as soon as I start with EVM fuzzing scenario, it breaks apart pretty quickly. Maybe some updates from the client teams and testing would be great.
Have you already shared all the issues with the client teams? Are there anything in specific you want to dig into?
It's quite general still. So there's nothing in particular right now that I would want to share at the moment.
Okay, so it sounds like we're still going to continue fuzzing locally. We'll probably have some minor spec change before we do a DevNet launch, right?
Yeah, we will, I think, talk about it more in the breakout call. I think I think we should not go into too much detail here now.
Okay. Yeah, Dragan?
Just mentioned that Friday I found some inconsistency in spec test that needs to be fixed. And I think the test fixture was just created a few times previous week, so I don't think that anybody's passing them. So there is still like work that needs to be done.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Anything else for Parallel DevNet 3? Okay, I did want to announce that Justin's made a release on the consensus specs for V170 Alpha 3. And to continue that point, do we want to get some updates on EPBS DevNet 0 as well as where Alpha 3 will be used?
Yeah, I can give a quick update. So we currently have Prism, Lighthouse, and Notes are working correctly on the DevNet. We have Nimbus proposing blocks here and there. It's not completely working yet. And Deku has not been able to sync or propose at the head yet. Local process tests also weren't able to work with Deku. We added Checkpoint Z, we added Lodestar to the Checkpoint Z instance last week, and that seemed to have broken some stuff, so we now reverted back into only using Prism. And yeah, I tested exits last week and deposits. Deposits worked, exits do not work yet. I can run another round later today to see if there has been any changes that would make sure that we can do the exits as well.
Sounds good. To carry on there, I also posted a message about disabling block production and then re-enabling it, and that's also leading to some issues with the network healing afterwards. But yeah, I guess there's still a lot of fixes for EPBS DevNet 0 before we go to DevNet 1, right? And I guess Alpha 3 will be what we use for DevNet 1?
Yes, most likely.
Don't we want the PTC? I mean, we'll discuss this in the breakout, but I think we want the PTC look behind or look ahead one way of it for the next DevNet.
Okay, so there's probably going to be another release before that. Okay. Cool. And the next point on the agenda was update from the gas repricing effort. Do we have any more insight into numbers, where we are in terms of getting them, and when we want to sequence these into the DevNets? Okay, I think the relevant people might just not be here today. Okay, we can do that on async. There was maybe one other agenda item before we switch to breakout rooms. The item was from Spencer talking about SFIing EIPs. Spencer, do you want to first bring up the point? And then I think Tony and I had some follow-up points over there.
Yeah, sure. I guess just some context. So personally, I would like us to SFI EIPs a bit faster, kind of aligning more with the network upgrades inclusion EIP, so EIP 7723. Selfishly, on the steel side on eels, we only include EIPs, or we only merge EIPs into our main branch for Amsterdam once they're SFI'd. It's a process that we'd like to keep, but we can also change that. But I guess right now for Amsterdam, we've been having like a lot of issues with consistently having to have all these conflicts between EIPs when creating the DevNet branches, because we don't yet have these EIPs SFI'd, so we can't merge them in earlier into our Works Amsterdam branch. So that's the kind of the selfish side from Steel. I guess the other benefit of SFIing earlier is the downstream effects it would have for the community. But yeah, I guess the main reason I brought this up is because in the network upgrade EIP 7723, we state when client teams agree to implement a core EIP in the next upgrade DevNet, the EIP should move to the SFI stage and the upgrade metric EIP should be updated to reflect this. We also state SFI signals that implementation and testing work are underway. The EIP should be included in the network upgrades if no issues arise. Now, I note like the key word here is should, doesn't say must. But my gut feeling is that should apply to the majority of EIPs, and then the must should, I guess, negate that. So my feeling is that maybe like 70 to 80% of the EIPs should follow this. And I don't think it's the best idea to just say the EIP has been added to a DevNet, therefore we must SFI it. I think we could maybe change the terminology a bit to state that EIPs can be SFI'd once it's successful in a DevNet. So for example, all the EIPs that have been successful in DevNet 2, I feel like should be SFI'd by now. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to bring this up as a general process question.
Yeah, maybe sharing. I already posted my thoughts on the topic in the issue as well. But thanks for the context. I think that helps a ton. Probably the biggest fear for me is that we SFI something. It has a relation with another EIP that we only haven't included in a DevNet because of different complexity. And then we have to kind of backtrack the SFIing if we SFI too early. There's probably a middle path over there where if an EIP doesn't have any interactions with other EIPs or any foreseeable interactions with other EIPs, as well as is deemed well implemented and testing coverage is good, then we can SFI it. But at least from my perspective, I think this makes more sense to do on ACD rather than ACDT until ACD explicitly says ACDT can take a call on this. Yeah, that was, I guess, high-level thoughts, but yeah, open to other opinions or decisions. Do we want to SFI stuff on this call, or do we want to defer that to ACD? Yeah, Tony?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we should do that on ACD. And yeah, so far there haven't been many DevNets, so not many EIPs were already on DevNets, but maybe this week on ACD we can already take a decision on a few of them that were already on DevNet 2 and that don't interact with many other EIPs, and we can already SFI them. Especially, like Spencer said, to give the community like more certainty about what is going to ship or whatnot.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the list that Spencer shared already makes sense. I think he also has a PR to update them, right? Yes, he does. So in general, is anyone opposed to Spencer presenting this list on Thursday and then getting ACD's approval for SFI?
Note this list contains all the EIPs in DevNet free, so I think we might need to filter it down.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
guess you can post a list on ETH R&D and then solicit feedback there.
Sure. Sounds good.
We could start with only the EIPs from DevNet 2, because we don't even know if they work yet. We haven't launched DevNet 3 yet, so maybe it would make sense to do that like one after another. But I have no strong opinion on that.
I guess like the main reason I brought this up was not necessarily to SFI the EIPs, but like should we change what we state in the network upgrade inclusion EIP to kind of align more with a slightly different process of like, okay, the EIPs in the previous DevNet were stable, we should SFI them, assuming that, yeah, there's no future conflicts with other EIPs that we may see in the future. And I guess like that was kind of the main question. I don't want to take up too much more time here.
Yeah, maybe Barnabas for last points, and then we can move on.
Yeah, just one point that, for example, 8037, the state creation gas cost increase, the IP is not really finalized yet. So I would actually make sure that we're not gonna SFI a hacky EIP, because yeah, right now it's just using some hard-coded version for DevNet 3. So I would not feel comfortable SFIing that EIP in its current form. So unless we actually gonna be doing the state creation gas cost increase properly, I would keep that away from the list, even if we do end up including it in DevNet 3.
Yeah, for sure. I think the same should apply for us putting in a change that requires a repricing later on. I think we should SFI EIPs that we just see having very few interactions and has already been tested adequately and has implementation that's already in a final stage. Okay, cool. That's, I think, everything on the agenda. Are there any other topics people wanted to bring up before we head to breakout rooms? Okay, if that's the case, I will create the rooms now. Please note that the rooms won't be recorded, at least not right now. There also won't be a transcript. So if you're participating in one of the two rooms and make notes, please do post them on ETH-R&D so that we can collect them later on. And yes, you should be able to choose a breakout room now.